Hello, welcome to this week's episode of TLDR CLG. This is the week of March 16th, 2015, and these are my co-hosts, Cry and Jim. My name is Brendan, and I'll be helping you guys out with the transitions and whatnot. So we're going to be talking about LoL, CSGO, and Halo for this week. So we're going to jump right into the LoL segment, which is absolutely nothing. We didn't go to IEM.
Pretty much. Don't lie. We had CLG rank 5s. It happened. If you looked at the LoL subreddit, it was there. It was all over it. There were videos. It was crazy.
I don't care about that jungler Urgot. That has no effect on our.
It was double jungle. I'm pretty sure there was Janna in there also.
I think team bonding, guys. Team bonding.
I think we had like Doublelift playing mid lane. Link was in like the support role, and like Aphromoo was roaming Blitzcrank one game. Like, I don't even remember. These games were like.
They were gods.
They were so trolly.
Was it Deca kill? I don't know, something. It was ridiculous. It was.
I know. I don't care.
They had a Deca kill. It's really fun seeing the players play the roles that they don't usually play, like or in LCS or like in their normal solo queue streams. So I don't know. That was really fun to see because they're all just like screwing around, and you can tell they don't care. So.
Yeah, but yeah, that's about it. That was in that.
No, there was
this
nothing.
Week.
Okay, moving on.
All
right. The next part would be CSGO, which is actually a lot more interesting. We actually did something this week, kind of.
We're on
ESO1 Katowice, and then Jim will lead us off, and then
Cat on pizza.
Yeah, cat on pizza. Yeah, sure. We were in Group C, and as if you watched last week, we were in the group with Hellraisers, Ninjas in Pajamas, and Keed Stars, which is the former Kaboom roster. And the first matchup was against Hellraisers, which was a tight game. It was kind of scary to watch. Like, as I'll get to, every CLG game this weekend. So they played Hellraisers on Nuke and went down. They were on the T side, or CLG was on the T side, and went down, not winning a single round, I think, until the 14th round, eventually getting 2-13 on the T side. And if you know Nuke very well, it's an extremely CT-sided map, hence why CLG was able to make a huge comeback with the carries stepping up for the CT side, winning 14 straight rounds, and eventually losing that 15th round, and then closing it out for a 16-14 scoreline, which pretty tight, right? So that put them into the upper bracket, and they played against...
Wait, they won that one?
Yeah, they won the first game.
Holy...
Have you been living in a dream world where CLG lost all their games? If they lost,
that's not a dream world. That's not a dream world. That's reality.
If they lost 2 games, that would have been out. It's you lose 2 games.
Oh, right? They actually won that.
Yeah, they won the first game.
Yeah.
I was seeing the chat, and the chat was going like crazy because I wasn't paying attention.
It was exciting. It was super exciting. Yeah.
They had like a super comeback. So
it was ridiculous. You're not supposed to like. That's one of the only maps that's comebacks possible, and hence the issues on the next couple maps.
I thought we lost that.
No, dude. So they won that game.
Okay.
I mean,
that was like the one game they won.
So you're gonna tell me so you were thinking that like they lost that map and then played against Nip in the losers bracket, who lost to Keed?
I don't know.
That would have been the assumption there. Just saying.
I wasn't paying attention to CSGO.
Okay.
I was like,
understand. But
I wasn't even paying attention to the LoL, to be honest.
So there was a bit of excitement, in my opinion. I was like super excited, like, oh yeah, we might be able to, if we can pull off our European team upsets against NIP, like we've done against LDLC, Titan, all these fun teams, that we'd make it out of groups. Well,
and then we get crushed by NIP.
It wasn't. I mean,
it was 16-7. That's
it was pretty bad.
It was pretty bad, but there were some not so bad parts of it. The big problem was you watch the match, and CLG is CT side first, and unlike Nuke, Mirage is closer to even. But if you start CT side, you're expected if you're even teams, you're expected to go. T sides are expected to get 5 rounds or 5, 6, maybe 7 rounds, and it's tighter than T sides expected on Nuke. So they played the CT side on Mirage, and guess what? They went down 2-13 again.
Hey, I hear that CT side is pretty good for CLG.
I think honestly, I don't think it was really that.
That's not even funny.
The problem.
Hey, we beat Hellraisers 14 rounds on CT side.
On Nuke. That is a completely different
that totally
story.
means we're a good CT-sided team. Don't tell me
also,
what
okay,
game does not tell you.
Also, during the NIP game, so they were getting overpowered a lot during the the first half of the game. They were getting overpowered. I mean, they got like a game or two off, but it wasn't a lot. They were getting overpowered, and they kind of looked like they really just did not have the confidence to make the plays that NIP had. NIP was like running up, and they were being super aggressive. A lot of things that I guess CLG wouldn't be expecting. But like, just CLG did not have the confidence to do it. Like later on, Tariq had like a pretty cool like 3K. It was like, it was 1 versus 3. They were at B site, I think, and it was like the 12th round. But a lot of times in the NIP game and also the Keyed Stars game, it would be 1 man left on CLG versus 3 of them or 4 of them. They were just getting picked off and they weren't able to reciprocate.
Yeah, I mean, to a degree, the problem that showed up most of the early half of the NIP game was we had issues with aim. I think that's a good way to put it. I don't know if it was land jitters against a really strong team, but for the first half, Peter was just shut down middle, and that's like a super key role in Mirage. If you're able to hold window and get a pick off in middle, you can start getting control. And in a few like the rounds that CLG actually looked like they were really fighting back and forth with NIP on, it was the rounds where either Peter got a pick on middle or they made these nice crazy push up middle. But what ended up happening most of the time was they knew, like, it's not like NIP was unpredictable. They like CLG knew the confident plays that NIP was going to make, and most of the time it was these standard A takes, but they weren't able to counter them. They weren't able to out aim them. That's my opinion, was there was just issues in aim. And it's hard to say, like, whether that's entirely individual players having aim issues, or maybe it's just putting the players not in confident positions. Because we saw, like, I watched that game not from from the ESL stream itself. I was watching it from I don't think it was a Dren stream, but it was someone else's stream, and they were chatting the entire time. And you can go look and get the VODs from this game, and if you listen to the comms, like the player point of view comms, CLG's comms just on the CT side, they don't sound like they're setting up several different strategies. They are just kind of going to default roles or mixing it up a bit, and they don't have like 6 or 7 crazy different default roles, which some teams do. It's like, it was sad to see Peter get shut down. And in the end, so they go down this 13-2 CT side, or CT side winning 2 rounds. They actually started to mount like an okay comeback. Like, if you get 5 rounds off on a T side, you're already set to go. They just I think it was one of the rounds, right? They won a good round off of just a standard A take, just 5 smoke grenades running in, taking A, just setting up the map. Like, I think this is one where Tariq goes into Palace and throws his grenade there, and they have all 4 other players throwing really nasty grenades and taking from all the different angles. They won that round. Then they lost another round, but attempted to throw it back and win a round with just a rush into A, and that was match point. They just rushed into A, and I think it was Freiburg. All right, where I was, so yeah, CLG lost this round running 5-man into site. It wasn't very pretty, and it didn't look like the greatest strategic decision, but I mean, they were already in dire straits against NIP, and I don't think they thought they had the confidence to win all the straight rounds that they needed on a T side, on a CT-sided map, against a team that is just a bit of a higher caliber than Hellraisers.
Map?
Pardon me?
Which map was that again?
This is Mirage.
Okay.
So more T-sided than Nuke, but not enough to get like a 14 straight round wins on T side unless you just outclass the team or have some sort of god strategy.
At that point, it was just a desperation call. Like all
it was a desperation call, but like if you look at it from a viewer's perspective, it's really disappointing for them to make that call because you're like, they're in match point. They're gonna try to out strategize them, and I guess the idea is, let's out-strategize them, let's rush in on A. But you're rushing in on A against really good aimers who probably know how to deal with A rushes most of the time.
Wait, rushing in on A is the strategic outplay we were going for? That's
how I do it in Silver.
That's Silver level tactics right there. In Silver and CSGO, there's one strategy and one strategy only, and that
rush A! I'll flash you in.
I was waiting for you're like, oh, they're going for some strategic outmaneuver, and you're like, rush A. I'm just like,
I think they were trying to play some mind game.
Wait, what?
The mind game that they attempted to play didn't work.
It's like,
I mean, having watched some of CLG's recent games, they do play mind games on T-side of Mirage. I like it. They play a lot of these, have a few people go A, throw, I think it was Peter Finesse, throw grenades for A, and then rotate B and throw grenades for B, and then turn back around and rotate back to A, go through connector. It's ridiculous. They do all kinds of circulation. I remember back when I played Source, we did the same sort of thing in Dust, let's go around the world. We'll go in tunnels, go down, go back up, go back around into tunnels, go into B, but go through CT spawn to A. It's like, what the fuck?
Sounds like an absolute waste of nades.
Oh yeah, total waste. But in the end, they lost.
If it works, then it's worth it, though. If they actually are able to trick the enemy team, then it's fine.
Exactly. Well, I mean, there were a few rounds that it wasn't too bad against NIP that they did this. They got 5 rounds on the T side. It's not like it's... They got 5 rounds on T side. If you're an okay team, I mean, that's where you should be happy with. Getting 5 rounds on the T side. The thing is, they needed 14 rounds on the T side and didn't get their 14.
Yeah, no. It wasn't happening.
I mean, if you're someone speculating on the match, that's what you should expect. You should expect NIP to beat CLG on that map unless CLG does one of their crazy Peter and Tarek are just on fire being aiming gods. But they weren't. So that moves the CLG out of that winner's position of groups and down into the playing for the second spot to move into quarterfinals. And that was against Keatstars. And if you recall, they're the Kaboom roster that CLG did a lot of scrimming with in and around ClutchCon. Really good lineup here. And if everyone remembers CLG on Dust 2, CLG has 2 of their biggest upsets have been on Dust 2, the LDLC and Titan matches. But if you have gone and looked at Keatstars, they're also really strong on Dust 2. Fallen and ZQKS, I think is the correct name, are just takeover maps and don't let anyone have control. And the problem CLG had was they started CT side, which is where you should hope to get really strong control of Dust 2, which is Dust 2 is becoming more T-sided, especially with the strategies that people are playing out. More of the maps are getting more and more T-sided, except for maybe Nuke. But Dust 2, you should expect to do pretty well on CT side. And guess what? Another 213 CT side. 213 was CLG's number this weekend, and no shame, but shame or something.
Just their CT side, I feel, just needs a lot of work. This isn't something that's only happened during this event. They've had problems with their CT side for a while, and they've admitted it online, and so on and so forth. And at the point where Fallen and ZQKS got the double op, it's just that CLG just kept getting picked off.
I agree.
Isn't it they shouldn't be in the position to go double op on terrorist?
Yeah, in the first place.
The problem, the argument, the actual argument for why they should, why they had so much control with the double op, it's hard to say CLG just has a problem on T sides or CT sides. They have admitted this, and you can go look in historically, and there are some issues CT sides. But when you go watch the individual game, it's why are they having this problem? It's not like it's a strategic issue. It seems to be an aim issue. Quite literally, I was watching Dust Murray. I think it's Moret. Sorry if I butchered your name.
Just call him Dustin.
Dustin, he's done a pretty great CLG analysis of ESL 1. So if you can go check that out, I'd give him the shout out for it. But one thing that he pointed out, and I went and rewatched the game to see it, Peter just got shut down on long, CT side, every round. It was just disgusting. Fallen ZQKS, they had his number. They were on fire with their ops, and even every round that Peter was able to get his op, he just got taken out. As Dustin said, I think he was zero kills for over half, if not more, of the CT side. Which
So from what you're saying is that their issue isn't strategically, but their issue is aim.
That's
right?
my opinion was land jitters or something, which they seem to not have sometimes. It's like as Dustin had said also was Hayes said this, they're this 50-50 sort of team.
Wait, what did you guys say? The Hotshot wanted like a analyst for the CSGO team or a coach?
I think a coach, but I don't recall.
Okay, because if it was a coach, then I feel like they really could use it just to have like the kind of.
I mean, they already have a coach. They have Peter.
Oh, okay.
I'll get into it. It's pretty great.
Yeah.
But so this Keat Stars game actually so they go down 2-13. No one had a great CT side. Tarek I think had a few good plays.
They also weren't aggressive. They didn't have the aggression that they needed to make the plays or the confidence. Just the confidence. It wasn't there.
I mean that's their normal. Normally they do have they tend to play aggressive. Like you see Tarek pushing mid through smoke. You see Cutler or Hayes pushing through tunnels, but they just didn't. And honestly, the reason I think that didn't happen strategically is because they lost control of long every round, super hard. It was just disgusting.
So you're saying that it may not be a choker, but if it looks and acts like a choker, it's a choker?
Wait, how differently would this game have gone if they had started T side?
That's a good point.
It's hard to say. I don't know. Maybe they've got momentum. Here's the thing. T side, on the other hand, they had a good game on T side. Their T side, they were doing the same thing as they did in the Hellraisers game. They were mounting a comeback. They actually had quite a good T side, though.
Yeah, they put up a fight on T side, but by that time it was too far gone.
Now that I think of it, both of their match point, or not, it wasn't even match point in this one. Both of the rounds that ended their games effectively in both their losses.
Would it be match points then?
No. This was the one on Dust 2 was not match point. They lost the round and they got ecoed out, and Keat was just able to hold the next couple rounds.
Oh, okay.
But this was the game I was watching. It was actually Dustin and Adren. I'm hoping it was Adren. I'm pretty sure it was watching. They were streaming this because I was definitely not at work and definitely didn't have it on my phone, but they were streaming and commenting as it was going, and it was kind of sad because Tarek had an up and it was great. They had pretty good setup to take B. I think they got initial kills on the round. Tarek saw someone in the back of B on platform behind the box. The guy peeked out, took a shot, and crouched back down again. And the argument that you can op through that box. You can literally shoot through that box and kill the guy behind it through collateral damage. And he wasn't taking the shots. He was sitting there aiming for it, and Keat out-rotated and took the round and eventually took the game. It was two really weird calls, individual players or team-wise, and honestly, but the thing is, overall, it's not like CLG performed completely poorly. They had a game that they won against a team that most people predicted Hellraisers would make it out of groups. Turned out Keat made it out of groups. And
I don't think they necessarily played bad. They were just kind of outclassed, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, to a degree. I think Keat kept it together, and they even showed it in their match against Virtus Pro. Just a shout-out to Keat, Kaboom roster. They all seemed like a great group of guys, and, I mean, why would Peter coach someone who weren't greatest? This is the Peter coaching moment I talked about. I don't recall if it was actually in ClutchCon that he was behind them as well, but
ClutchCon.
He was, so Peter stepped up and goes and puts on his headset and hypes up the Keat Stars Kaboom boys and keeps them in their game. And they ended up winning a nice overtime game. It went into overtime on overpass. That's a bit nasty to say. But, they ended up losing their quarterfinal game against Virtus Pro, but it was a tight game, and it was really nice to see that Keat's at least able to show that they should be invited to the next major. So
Peter's such a cool guy.
Wait, sorry. We gotta get the win, brothers.
What?
I'm guessing that judging by context, it looks like a reference to what Peter said in one of the voice comms.
You mean what Peter's always saying? I appreciate it. I just love sitting in there. I've got a friend who says the exact same thing. So I go to Peter's stream every once in a while, and I'm just hearing like, "We can do it, brothers. We can do it."
Oh, okay, yeah. No, Peter's a hella chill guy. He's awesome.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
fun to watch too on stream. You guys should watch him.
But yeah, that's about it.
But I think
PSL.
there was another issue. There's another issue with this tournament, similar to what happened with the ClutchCon. That was that IEM had the entire voice comms released for all the teams.
Yeah.
Right?
I think we talked about that.
ESL.
I was the one that asked that question. Didn't you guys say that? Or I'm not sure, but like for games like CS:GO, where it's like a first-person shooter, it's like the comms aren't as important as they would be in a game like League. I'm not sure.
No, but
we talked
we
about this.
talked about it earlier, but I don't think we aired that episode. But I think Richard Lewis, you guys may all hate him, but he did a pretty
I like
good.
Richard. He's logical.
I'm going to say to everyone out there,
Thorin is logical.
Both of them are.
I like Thorin, not so much Richard. Continue.
Yeah, you're
But
saying.
there are people. Richard Lewis did a video on that, but I don't think it got much traction because it's a CS. Well, I don't know if I didn't check the CS:GO subreddit, but I don't think it got much traction. So you can check it out if you want to talk. If you want to get more in depth on the whole, like getting voice comms issue. But I think that's an interesting thing that maybe.
Maybe that's why the Swedish teams are so good. They talk in Swedish in their game, so
Nobody can understand.
none of the North American teams can understand, but the Swedish teams understand the English that the North American teams do.
That's
So
our
one of the-
I
slash,
smell foul play.
No, but back to the issue. I think Richard Lewis. I didn't get to watch the whole thing, but I think Richard Lewis is going along that this was actually bad for the game. Did you guys hear about that?
I haven't watched the video. I'll definitely check it out. So-
I think you said it was bad for the game. I didn't get to the part where he said why because I fell asleep during the video because I was super tired. But I think
way to promote it, man.
Hey! Tired. It's only like I can only do so much at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Okay.
But yeah, I think he was saying something along the lines that it would just cause more controversy, needless controversy. And like it's nice to have snippets of like the hype moments, but like having all the comms wouldn't be helpful. As I said, I didn't get the whole scenario, so I'm not going to add any.
I
more.
like having comms, so I'll take a look at it and see if I agree with the argument. I'm one to always listen to logical arguments and draw an opinion from it.
Also, to the people who don't know, it should be r/global offensive, right? That's where they would look for it? Yeah. R/.
So you just go to Richard Lewis's our Lewis reports for our YouTube.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There
That
you
will
go.
also work.
I think it was a very interesting topic because this was the first major time that it actually happened, and it's a very. I don't think it's so clear as it is a very.
It's definitely an interesting topic.
Yeah.
Because it's not like there's definitely been a lot of topics where Richard has had a very strong opinion that makes sense to have. This is something that is arguable, for sure, just arguable.
Okay, so like if you guys want to know more about the situation, check out Richard Lewis's thing. If you guys want to know more about CLG happening at IEM Katowice, then you can go to the
ESL1.
ESL1.
Pizza.
I was the one saying IEM earlier.
I know, I'm sorry, we corrected you, and then we like told you why, and then like I'm the one saying IEM. Okay, so ESL1, if you want to know more about CLG's performance at ESL1, Dustin Moreau, or Dustin, has a Dustin's Deductions, aka Thorin's Thoughts 2.0. Calling you out on that. Thorin's Thoughts 2.0 on his it's on the CLG subreddit, it's on his YouTube channel.
Ah.
Okay.
So moving on past CS:GO, we're gonna talk about the really hyped and action-y part of CLG, Halo. What happened?
They're back at the house.
I thought it was just Heinz. I mean, just Ogre that was at the house.
I saw Snakebite, but maybe now. This was prior to the recent tournament. They had everyone there, but
Oh, they had everyone there? Oh, I think they had them for a boot camp. Yeah, I think they
Yes.
Yeah, the Halo team's already
this is
moving
prior.
there.
This was prior to season 1 finals.
Yeah, prior to season 1 finals, they were all there. But I know Ogre 2 is the only one that looked like he was going to be staying there permanently.
Well, he's back there at least. But the big new news on Halo is Heinz has been dropped from the roster, released from the roster, and is now a member of Denial. But guess who's now on CLG? Denial's former player.
Cloud.
Wait, what?
There was a roster swap. Quite literal roster swap.
Yeah, they literally traded. It's great.
It's kind of exciting. The question, like, Cloud is known as an FFA player from what I've read around, and is tends to be a high fragger, whereas Hines was more of on the strategic side and played angles and sights. So it'll be an interesting direction for the team. Like, the question is, if when Richie leaves like that, are they going to be devoid of some strategy, or did he leave because the rest of the team thought, we can fill that void, we just need we need more kill pressure? It'll be interesting. I'm excited for.
I think we talked about this a little bit last week. Is everyone gets around, like, everyone does their part for CLG. Yeah. Like, Hines may score a little bit on the lower end, but if it's similar to the I think Thorin talked about it a little bit for NIP, like in CS:GO. Like, if Exist is going off, right? If Exist is going off, then something's going wrong. Because if Hines is your top kill person, then something.
Well, it's not that something's going wrong. It's if he's the only top frag person. Like it. Like the weird position is like, Exist is like the support role in
CS:GO
in NIP. So you shouldn't expect him to be in that position, and he shouldn't. If he needs to go off, if he needs to be the top fragger, then something's wrong. And I think that was the weird argument in the same position. Like,
I don't think Hines was ever necessarily like he has to be top killing everyone. Like,
I think the thing is, it's an entirely different game, and it has a different dynamic, and there may not be a role for, like, the argument may be that there's. Well, you need to, like, your supports may have to be better fraggers, or the best team may be just a bunch of people, maybe one guy who's good at communicating but really good at fragging still, and like just can feel like that. Like, I don't know the dynamic of EG. They may have their dynamic may be just really high fraggers who have enough communication skills to make strategy happen, and maybe that's what CLG's direction is going for. I'd have to look more into actual strategic direction of Halo to really come to a conclusion on it.
But since the coach is technically usually in the booth with the players, wouldn't he cover the strategic aspect for them?
I guess you could say so. Yeah.
Because I know, like, they're like literally in there in the booth, and then they're like pumping up the guys, keeping them focused, trying to get the timers down. And I think
that's when you're getting into the difference between like a coach and an analyst, though.
No, the coach is literally.
No, the coach is sitting behind them the same way that it is in CS:GO. Yeah. The thing is, I think having people who are able to communicate in game and say what they need versus what the coach is saying. Like, the coach can say big picture things and like get tighter on some strategy things, but an individual player communicating exactly what they need is important. But if that player, like, if all four players are able to do that and the coach is able to coach them, then they don't need the idea is they don't need a player to be really that huge voice of direction. So maybe that's our, like,
I guess. I think that it's interesting to see the differences between CS:GO and Halo. I think we were going to do a video on it, but then we never really got around to doing it.
Yeah, I had a really busy work week. Great.
Yeah, but I think Cloud and Hines, they're changing. It's going to be a larger shift than most people anticipate in the playstyles of both teams.
It'll be exciting to see the upcoming season. I want to watch it.
But aside from the roster swaps, there's actually one more thing popping up soon. Actually, not soon.
We'll get to it. We'll get to it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, moving on to Cry's favorite part of the thing, plays of the week.
What?
I thought you were going to talk us through everything.
I'm not going to talk you through everything, but okay. Some cool plays of the week. I mentioned it earlier when we were talking about the NIP game. So, well, maybe you don't know, that's why you're watching the show, but in the NIP game, a lot of what happened in the first half of the game was there'd be one person of CLG left. It was a different person a lot, but there would be one person left versus like 3 or 4 of them, or maybe it was just a one-on-one, but there would always be. The casters made a point of saying, "Oh, the last man standing for CLG," like every other round. And it was, it was getting old. But in the 12th round, I think it was a 1 versus 3. Tarek had this sick 3K. Like, I could just only, I mean, I think it's super impressive only because of the fact that I'm imagining the amount of stress and pressure they were under, but for him to actually, and considering the level of play that they've been doing with the missing and not aiming not too well, he actually got like a really nice 3K. And he was at like, I mean, one of the guys was not very high health, but still, it's still a 3K. And my personal favorite during the CLG LOL ranked troll games, Doublelift got a Deca kill, and this is all over Reddit. Doublelift got a Deca kill, and I think the funniest part was that he would get up, he ran around the room for like a couple seconds, and then on his way back to his chair, he tripped. And it's like, hey, there you go, number 180 carry ever. And it's like, okay, I'm sorry, that's my play of the week. Sorry, stop looking at me like that.
I think there's a lot of... I think you're going to be the lightning rod for this episode. It's not going to be my Hecarimar Victor thing. It's number 180 carry ever. There are a couple of...
I did not say number 180 carry ever. Hey, there you go, number 180 carry ever. Okay, and also I said that in a very joking fashion. I'm not 100%
take it out of
serious.
context, put it as the title for the Reddit thread, and then it's going to be great.
Doublelift, number 180 carry ever.
Screw you guys, okay?
So, as you know, there's a Halo team called Straight Rippin', right? I guess Doublelift was Straight Trippin'.
Shut.
I'm gonna go.
Can we get that facepalm?
Sorry, I'm done.
If I left right now, the show would be just you.
I know, right? So
Jim, come back! Jim, come back!
Oh god, this is a terrible.
I'm sorry, that wouldn't be a responsible move.
If this actually gets released, I'm gonna be kind of sad. So we're gonna have our producer run all the clips, including the facepalm clip. There.
Wait, Moicast Hourglass, this is a horrible idea. What? Oh my god! What?
Hey, there you go, number 180 carry ever.
A facepalm GIF.
Clip.
Whatever.
GIFs are the thing like, loaded.
Oh no, we have a GIF for my facepalm.
Okay.
And then we have a GIF for the Doublelift thing, but we could probably we'll probably link the clip and then we'll have the GIF in the description somewhere.
Sounds good. Sounds great.
Our
producer just said that Azure's facepalm is not a play of the week, guys. Okay.
She said we had to put the facepalm thing after, so we'd have those 3 clips and we have the facepalm after I say the straight tripping thing.
Okay, anyway, continue.
Terrible. Okay, so CLG Player of the Week.
Oh wait, no, my bad.
Player of the Week.
Yeah, we've kind of lost Cry. So for everyone who came here for in-depth discussion and intelligent conversation, I apologize for this week.
Shut up.
Number 180 carry ever.
I did not say ever. I did not say ever. Hey, there you go. Number 180 carry ever.
Okay, so best 80 carry. Who's the best? Okay.
Who is the best player of the week? Who is our CLG player of the week? I honestly, I think Tarek stepped up at ESL 1. Mm-hmm. I think he had more points where he was in control and his aim was on at the event than he had done at least at the previous large LAN event that they had, or at MLG Aspen. His aim was not on as much as it was now. There was a lot of I remember, at least I think it was in one of our preliminary videos we'd mentioned that Tarek didn't look so strong then. He looked pretty strong in the recent online events and showed up. Not as well as like a team that's going to go win ESL 1, but
if CLG is winning ESL 1, I'm going to check what's wrong with the world and see if it's still like I know.
Hey, there were people who were thinking that Cloud9 could make it out of groups and possibly win.
How many people thought that CLG would beat NIP though?
When you're prefacing your argument with they might get out of groups, and then you make that jump to win the tournament, I think you're making a pretty big leap, just most of the time.
Yeah. It's
If the fact that they might get out of the group is already a question, then I don't think winning the tournament should be that.
No, that's definitely arguable. At the same point, it's not like people didn't make the argument for it either. It's possible, since they're not playing crazy amounts of games in the playoffs, they're playing a bunch of best of threes. If you play the strategic game right, you can pick up games or get in the right bracket. You can get to finals. Like we saw NIP before they made roster changes play extremely hard matches that like arguably they shouldn't have won, and pick up and make it to finals of tournaments that a lot of people would argue that they shouldn't have made it to.
All right, so moving on from the best player of the week. So we've pretty much had Tarek, since he's technically he performed pretty well, and his team was really the only one competing in anything major.
Shut up.
Do you want me to leave again?
So moving on to what's happening next week, we're going to be playing against two very, very, very competent teams. No, we're playing against one good team and one terrible team.
Yeah, I was like,
Sure.
Okay, next
Dana
week
Toss
for
is
LOL,
terrible.
guys. LCS is back. Whoop!
Dana Toss is terrible. That game should be on.
Hey.
You're so mean.
Yeah.
They've
Rampant
had more
speculation.
junglers than we've had.
I thought it was
Like,
pronounced
we stuck
jungler.
Toster in the jungler. They have a Zingy in the jungle.
What's their
Ooh.
standing right now? What's Dignitas' standing right now?
They're
Because
one,
isn't this
they're
like
one game away from being relegated.
yeah? This is
from
literally
being
like
stuck in
mathematically
relegation.
speaking.
Mathematically speaking, if they
Lose this game, they're stuck in relegation. They're guaranteed to go.
no, they're not. If
They're
they
guaranteed to go to 6th place at highest, I think, or 7th place at highest.
they're guaranteed to be 7th place at highest if they lose this game. This is effectively their last chance because they lose this game, then it gets like they win.
Oh, 7th place is not relegated. 7th place is they.
7th place is the spot. 7th place is where they want to be. I don't think unless all the other teams that are in have 7 wins just somehow lose all their games, which doesn't work. I think if you go through the schedule, it just doesn't work.
Yeah.
Also, they're tied with Winter Fox, so it's either them or Winter Fox. Like
Hey.
they're neck and neck, both 5 and 9.
Yeah.
Neck and neck, and we're like drowning, and they're both just like trying to put the other one down. That can make me makes it sound like they're going somewhere. They're like trying to get above water. Right
Yeah,
now.
yeah, yeah. Like
They're
neck
like
and
in
neck
the-
for
they're
like.
they're like in the Titanic, and they're like gasping for that last breath of air.
Oh yeah, but this is the game that like if Big wins, they have a chance to not be relegated. But this is the game where it's CLG can show again. They have a strong early game and can just take it to a team.
Well, I'm really afraid of that AP Rise, so let's go on to that TSM game. So, as everyone in our subreddit was talking about, TSM is a part of North America. CLG is a part of North America. We should cheer them on and totally not have any grudges towards them at all.
Says the TSM subreddit mod. Just
Hey.
throwing that out there.
I also mod Team Cloud9.
Wow.
Oh, so you're a triple betray? No, I'm just kidding.
Get out. TSM Wondered? Is that the saying?
Yeah, TSM Winter.
Oh.
Okay, well.
TSM had a very strong international performance prior to the upcoming week.
They played a single game versus a Korean team.
Yes, but they won against a lot of teams.
They beat, let me just tell you, run down what they beat. They beat the 12th best Chinese team, they beat the 1st best Southeast Asian team, and they beat a Korean team once.
Okay.
Yeah. So everybody's getting hyped about like them beating, like winning, and it's
NA
like
is the greatest region in the world!
It
They
doesn't
were-
mean, but in any case, it doesn't mean that, like, the thing is, they still won the tournament, which has merit in itself, and it means that they're confident in themselves, at least.
Alright, okay, so
Yeah,
I will agree. It's not worth giving them all kinds of credence because this wasn't a large tournament. It was effectively just best of ones in the group stage.
And they played a best of 3 and best of 5.
It was a very like there was a lot of variance in how this tournament could have played out based on very small little pieces of it.
Guys, let's just
more
admit it,
variance
okay?
than what actually happened. We had TSM and World Elite in the finals. I think that's about as far as the variance as it could go.
I think we should move on to CLG's playing against TSM this week. That's the more interesting part. It's that.
Okay, yeah.
So what's I think there was a post on the league subreddit saying something along the lines. TSM has the unofficial world champion belt right now. So there's potential.
If you lose to Coast or they lose to someone else, then
Yeah, that's true.
Oh yeah.
But there's a chance for CLG to take it back this week, and I'll let you cry. You want to go into it a bit before I get all down and dirty with the matchup?
I've kind of lost all hope every time I see CLG play TSM, because there's like every time there's like, oh yeah, this is it, this is the game, CLG will beat TSM, and then it never happens.
Let me just give you like 4 words: Spring Split, 2014, Game 2. That's 5, 6 words.
Can you just like rip out my heart already? Because that's what you just did. Anyway, I don't know. We don't know. Because all we've seen of CLG have been their troll ranked 5s. So I'm actually kind of hyped for this game to see how well they've adjusted to the patch. And because TSM is like scary looking right now, at least for like a viewer perspective. Even if they did just fight versus World Elite, but whatever. I want to see how they react to Afro. Personally, because Afro is just everywhere, like amazing, on fire on his support gameplay. So that's mostly what I'm looking for. I want to see the bot lane, Rush Hour versus Lust Turtle, Wild Boy?
Turtle Lust.
Turtle Lust. Ew, what the hell?
It goes something like,
Stop!
This is the worst episode we've had this far.
So,
I think that CLG is going to stick him on Janna, and we're going to get Ruffle stomped.
That's not an awful prediction.
Because that's what happened last time.
Realistic prediction.
We stuck him on. We stuck our only initiation on Janna, and then we made Link our primary engage. I'm sorry.
So that's a pick ban thing.
I'm sorry, Link.
I think Scar has gotten better at his role.
He's not sorry, Link.
I think I think that game, the last game we had, was very indicative of the different strengths of the team. Like TSM coast into their power curve, and CLG has a crush and then cruise into the victory. And I think they've gotten a lot more practice doing the team fighting. Like since they've done the you can't just FF after you get Ruffle stomped in the early game.
Yeah,
and
that's
then,
that's very important to mention. Yeah,
I think that if that was the scrim situation beforehand, then I'm very, very confident in what they'll be doing. Like, and for mid game team fights at least, how they will be engaging, how they will be initiating. I think that it was a problem that it was good that the problem was addressed earlier, like in the split at least, and that this will be a good showing for them to at least show that they aren't god awful once they've gotten that huge lead. Like, try to get an engage that isn't terrible. No, they get good engages, but they just screw it up somehow. He's like, they're going. It's like it's Vi Lissandra.
I think a good way to put it is they don't get controlled engages. They think they have something good, but the other team.
You have like a 5 to 6K gold lead. You just kill stuff.
That's. You still have to pick your fights. You have to have you need 20K gold lead to just be like whatever for your support to just kill everyone, even if it's Janna.
Yeah, but then it's gonna be It's gonna be really interesting. I think that we also played against the Team Liquid and we lost to them too, and it's going to be like after this break, if CLG can come back out fast out of the gates and take a win off TSM, who just finished winning IEM Katowice, that it would be a very good sign for the future. And if we do lose, I'm going to be a little bit more bleak because our record against the top 4 upper bracket teams are pretty terrible.
Not terrible, but it's just
it's 1-6.
Okay, that's terrible.
We won 1 game against Cloud9.
If you're saying the top 4 teams, those will fluctuate soon.
No, but I'm saying Cloud9, TSM, CLG, and Team Liquid.
Wait, fluctuate how though?
If Cloud9 goes 0-4 in the next week, and
you can't go 0-4 in the next week. You only go 0.
Next 2 weeks before the end of the split. If Cloud9 goes 0-4 and Team Liquid goes 0-4, you could have Team 8 up there, and all those teams are neck and neck in that post 4th place spot. It's extremely close.
I don't know why.
You make the right argument.
NA
that those
makes
are
me sad.
The strongest looking teams.
NA makes me sad.
It
When
makes
Team
everyone
8
sad.
and Team Impact, or Team Impulse, I'm calling it Team Impact.
I think Impulse is like definitely viable. For
When Team 8 and Impulse can be in the top 4 teams, then you know that a region is.
What makes Impulse like? What's wrong with Impulse?
They speak 3 different languages.
Wait, how are you determining top 4? Are we?
But they can be like they're in contention to be. They're like games out of 4th.
Disregarding Impulse, if you go think like say general consensus. Cloud9 team tends to be a team that it's hard to consider them out of the top 4, especially if they pick up any issue in their early games, like they won against TSM. And then Team Liquid has shown they 2-0'd CLG so far. They've shown they're a strong team. They beat TSM as well.
Team Liquid, Team Impulse, and Team. I don't think Team 8's a little bit out of the bracket for me. I think Team Liquid and Team Impulse are very fluctuable.
I think I think the argument is that any team that's not CLG or TSM right now could be 3rd place. We'll see in the next 2 weeks. Cloud9, it's definitely a front runner for it. I'll say Cloud9's a front runner for it, but any team could be any team. CLG could even drop out of the 2nd place position if they show up this week and are just nothing. Like if it becomes a fall off, but
I'm so sad.
I don't want to see that, and I don't think we'll see it happen. So I'm gonna go give a bit of like what my opinion on this TSM game is, because I think it's definitely an exciting game to. I've been super hyped about it. Like since the end of the last one, everyone was down. Like, oh, we have to change our CLG subreddit banner. Be sad. I was just sitting here like, when can week 8 come? Please get here. I want to watch this matchup again. I want to see this happen because
I should love that best of 1 part.
It was It was just like competing ideologies on a game. It was like insane to watch, because what does TSM do in their games? They tend to, unless they just like get a random lead off of a lane, like a random Bjergsen lead, because Bjergsen is really, really good. He can take over a game, but most of the time they sit and wait and figure out what win condition works for them, and then and eventually take over. I
don't think they figure it out. I think they have that plan from the get-go. I think Loco.
It's hard to say.
I think Loco does a very good job prepping them for the game, and then I don't think TSM adapt. Like people have talked about this many times. TSM does not adapt well in game.
I don't know. I mean, I think TSM adapts reasonably well in game. Not in, like.
They do.
Look at the case in point, the CLG game that they won against CLG. They were getting crushed
That was them doing much except for CLG. They're just capitalizing on the They're not adapting. It's just CLG screwing up massively. I think Thor had a thought.
That is an argument that doesn't have much thought to it.
Yeah, that's not like they're not actively changing their build path. They're not actively forcing out objectives. They're doing like this is essentially like what looks like a sun.
Turtle played in a very strong position, and Lustboy was able to set up kills for him. Bjergsen drew attention of the team.
This feels like Elements 2.0.
The CLG versus TSM game, like, okay, we lost, but like there was still credit to be given for TSM. Like they were able to like wait out super well though, like for that game.
Yeah, but
if they were a shit team, your argument before about like if they weren't able to adapt in game, your argument before about how CLG could have just won a 6K gold lead fight, it should have just been CLG won a 6K gold.
No, but it's not that they're not. They're still good at team fighting. They're still good at team fighting, but it feels like they're not adjusting. They're just they have that plan they're going.
I think the argument for how they play is it's how fast they can adjust. And this is my opinion of what are the key points to this game. It's will CLG get the early lead that they've been known for this split? Like will Afro and the team control the map and gain an early gold lead? Like they get early gold leads even without kills.
I feel like yes, TSM can adapt, but I don't think they're good at adapting.
I think that's their like one of their key skill sets is that they are able like they can get a game like have a game where they're losing, but eventually win. Like even like they like look at the Team Liquid game that they lost to Team Liquid. They could have won that game. They didn't adapt quick enough. What is your argument? Your argument is I don't think this. My argument is facts. Of what has happened.
Guys.
You're saying guys. I think they could win.
So can I give you this analogy that maybe you'll agree with?
Okay.
So
can I say if you think that if you say that TSM is good at adapting, what the hell do you call Cloud9? what the hell do you call the other teams who are really good at adapting? You say
Cloud9's good at trading and making and average in a lot of average in a lot of things in the game, or at least above average in a lot of things in the game. But they're extremely good at making sure good trades happen. Something happens, they're going to make something.
I think like if Cloud9 is behind, I'd be much more afraid of Cloud9 when they're behind instead of TSM. TSM's like they get ahead, they can win, but they get behind, it's a lot more murky.
I see. I'll agree that if they get ahead with Bjergsen, they can just win. But if they get behind and they realize that they realize that, oh, Wild Turtle isn't super far behind. He can farm. He's an AD carry. He's a great player. His first game in LCS ever, he got a pentakill. He's not a shit player. He's a good AD carry and can take a game. They know, I think TSM realizes strategically, and maybe it's Bjergsen. He makes shot calls for the team. He can realize, I'm not going to carry this game. I'm going to do what I need in a fight. I'm going to be LeBlanc and just do a couple bursts over here and there and get the focus on me, and then Lustboy sets up Wild Turtle. Or vice versa. Maybe it's not Wild Turtle, maybe it's Dyrus. Dyrus can do the exact same thing. But I'll get to my analogy. So my opinion of what the analogy of the CLG TSM game right now is that CLG, it's a cop chase. It's a car chase. It's a police car chase. Yeah.
Who's the cop?
TSM is the cop.
Of course we're the criminal. God damn it.
And CLG is the criminal driving away with the game. I mean, how does the car chase start? Well, who's driving the car chase? Well, it's the guy running away, the guy driving the car, because he decides which roads he's going to take and where he's going to go with it, right?
So wait, why don't we just say that CLG takes action and TSM was very reactive to what they were doing?
Well, that's a point I'd like to make. CLG.
Yeah, why don't we just say that?
Because I'm making analogies.
Okay.
What's wrong with analogies?
You're trying to be
at least they're not sports analogies like Thorn.
As Thorn-like as possible.
You want me to call them like the Seattle Seahawks or something? No, this is something everyone can relate to and doesn't have to watch a sports game.
Hey, you could call CLG the Seattle Seahawks. Let's just not put in Marshawn Lynch. Let's just not put Aframu on the fucking Engage champion.
Sure. So I think this is a reasonably good analogy because what CLG does is they can, off the bat, they're really good at controlling the game. They drive the game in wherever they want it to go, and other teams will say it. Like even after CLG, like weeks after CLG lost to C9, I went and said it again. No, CLG did just like they look like they have map hacks. They just like know where we're going and then make their own things happen. Make something that is their own choice happen. And you watch every game that CLG plays, even if they lose it. I think there was one game against Coast where it didn't look like CLG was controlling it the entire time. But they ended up winning anyway. But that's beside
because Coast.
It's beside the point.
Coast.
That's beside the point. But the idea is CLG is driving the game like they're driving the car, and TSM in a lot of games plays catch up unless they just shoot out a tire really early with Bjergsen getting an early kill. It's not a bad analogy. Come on, you're laughing because you don't like the analogy, or it makes too much sense that you're dying. Come on.
It just makes sense though because TSM is a very brute force kind of team,
and they have a lot of resources. They have very strong players, and they have strong, historically good players. And overall, people will say, look at the power level of their players. Besides coming off of losses, if you go and let's say objectively look at TSM, they have Bjergsen, who's arguably one of the best mid laners in the West. Dyrus, who is one of the longest standing top laners in the West. You got Santorin, who's new. It's hard to say, but he's performed. He's done what he needed to do to get Bjergsen going.
Dyrus's claim to fame is that he's a long-standing member of the top lane committee in the West.
How long has been? Do you know how long Dyrus has been around? Do you know how long
Kop's been around?
Has he been to every World Championships?
Kop's been around since season 2. He's a relic.
Dyrus has been around since season 1. He was on Epic Gamer.
I know, but it's if you're gonna say he's been around for a long time,
he's been around longer than Kop. There you go. Boom. Here's your answer.
But that's not a very good.
If he's been around for that long,
he's been to all the World Championships.
That means absolutely nothing when you can't get out of the group stage.
I said he's long-standing. The thing is, he has experience. He has knowledge and experience and has not been kicked off a team that is known for kicking off players that are just not working out because he's able to adapt to all the metas and be effective. Yeah, whether it's dying because he gets camped.
He's a long-standing member. Like, just because that person's been around for 4 years doesn't mean Jack's squad.
Okay, an extremely experienced player. Do you want me to give you that word?
That's the same thing. You can say that he's adaptable to different metas, but it's saying he's experienced.
But he can adapt and be effective in different metas. That is a powerful thing to have on a team. They have a support who also is in that position and has crazy amounts of wins in tournaments. Like, if you go and look back at Lustboy's history, he's got lots of medals for himself when he was back in Korea.
I think Flame would like to have a word.
Oh yeah, no, like he wasn't the star of his team. Like you can, a lot of people say he's quiet and doesn't say much, but he's on these. He just plays on teams that win. There's a correlation. Yes, correlation doesn't imply causation.
Because of him.
Correlation doesn't imply causation, but damn, there is correlation between that guy being on a team and the team that he is on winning. Since he's been on TSM, they've been the top team in their region, top of the LCS right now, and they won last split.
Okay.
So, and then they have an AD carry who's also a strong player. Yes, we know the glaring flaws in Wild Turtle's playstyle, but it doesn't take away from when he is not playing too Wild or too Turtle. He's able to be a strong force to the team. He carries their games. But they have an extremely strong roster, exactly like you would expect.
I don't know how you didn't mention Santorin at all.
I did mention Santorin. I did. Go watch the VOD. Gosh. But getting back to my wonderful analogy, come on. CLG drives away with the game, and you know what? You know how TSM wins the game? They shoot
out the tires and they set up a roadblock so their CLG runs into a goddamn wall.
Yeah. No, for real. Exactly. CLG drives the game. If TSM is able to read them and figure out, okay, CLG is going to try to drive the game here. They're not going fast enough. We can catch up to them and take out their tires, or we can set up a roadblock because we know the angle.
The Shoutcaster's a helicopter with a spotlight on them.
Exactly.
And the Shoutcaster's a TSM bias too now? Not so much?
It depends. Depends on who's
Where is this analogy going?
We can go deeper.
Okay, we should not.
This is a terrible show. Let's move on.
The police are corrupt and Riot is the drug dealer.
Oh my god. Okay, moving on.
CLG Black Team Fusion.
Okay, CLG Black versus Team Fusion. This has lost all of its hype. I'm too.
Yeah, so the Challenger game skipped last week.
No, see, this game is if you look at the Challenger standings, CLG, if they win both their games against Fusion, they can make third. They can make it into the relegation promotion matches.
So theoretically speaking, if CLG Black were to get promoted, would they have to sell CLG Black?
Probably.
Yes.
So what is like? Never mind. I'll ask it later.
What is the point? The point of doing it is
have a.
It means you can make money.
With selling them?
Hotshot owns the sponsorships in a sense on this team. He owns the team, and that team goes and qualifies. Now Hotshot can sell the team. You know who?
Then what if they don't qualify? The amount of money that he had to spend, sponsoring.
Then he keeps attempting to play them. That's the risk in it. It's a risk reward thing.
You know, it's not just like, hey, let me just give you some money, and you just gave me that money back 100%. It's a risk reward thing. You can get into LCS, you make more money.
And the other risk they're making is you have this B team playing. Now it means okay,
so
if let's say you have people that can be shining. If there's people that are shining, exactly. If there's people that are shining stars on this B team, it's probably easier for you to go. It's easier for Hotshot to be like, hey, Fake Card, Smithy is retiring. We need a new jungler, and we think you're performing really well.
And then hey, West Price. Oh, he's retired.
Rip.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
But it's it's a farm team. You can use it for money. You can use it for a farm team. What Curse is doing with Keith. Keith, I doubt anyone will lend Keith the Curse normally. But Keith is on Low Pro, which is Team Liquid's. Oh, is it Team Liquid Pro? I don't know. It's something weird. I haven't checked their name.
Liquid Academy.
Okay.
Oh yeah, Liquid Academy. God.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay.
Because Curse Academy is already in. So.
But CLG can make the promotion games, and that's what's important. They're playing
Ian
against...
Tonso versus 6A. Money? Where would you put your money?
I don't know. Niantonso was a really strong AD carry back in the day, and I think he's probably brought it back up. But at the same time, 6A's up and coming.
He's been playing in the Challenger scene, right? And he's been doing pretty well.
Oh, yeah.
Like on Fusion? Yeah, he's been doing okay.
But Nintendo is not.
You know the kind of funny bit? CLG's playing Fusion this week.
And they'll probably stay out next week.
And they play, TDK. Yeah, it's exciting. So.
Oh, TDK is subbing in Alex Ish, right?
Oh, are they? I did not know that.
Nice.
Okay. I thought.
Oh, they're subbing Alex Ish and someone else. Yeah. And Coast got bought by. I mean, not Coast got bought. Final 5 got bought by Coast.
Oh yeah, there's that too.
So then Coast can pick Final 5, and they can fight each other for relegations, and then.
That'll be exciting. So yeah, that's all that happened in League, or that's coming up in League. That already happened.
How
so
much
this
money
is coming
Coast
from the future.
has? Like, because Coast sold Zion Spartan and Shipyard, then they sold Santorin. Like, they must have made fat dollars off of that. If they're like importing in Diamond 2 Koreans and they're buying another challenger team, and then they're like selling, it's like crazy. If they have the resources to do that, I'm just scared.
Okay. Well, that's it, I think, for League, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Next week, CSGO. Cool. What have we got?
Single face-it match. Well, it's in a few days from now. It's on Thursday, so catch it this Thursday. They're playing Mythic. If you recall, CLG lost to Mythic pretty
handedly.
Handedly on Nuke. But I think it was at a time where they were having issues with people not being able to.
Oh yeah, that was a Stomp Fest, wasn't it? The last game they played.
I don't know if it was the last game they played against Mythic, but what had ended up happening is they didn't have a good T side or an okay T side, and just didn't get started CT side. But either way, it'll be an okay game.
Okay, and like, what's their do we know their track record versus Mythic? How many times have they played, and how many times have they won?
I think they're 3 or 4-1 against Mythic. They've only lost that one time in Mythic.
Okay, exactly.
All right. So next section, Halo. This actually has a.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
A little bit farther off in the future, but I think.
We forget to mention they're in CS:GO. Just to cut in on you there. There are upcoming tournaments. They're not this coming week. We do have the CEVO LAN and the ESEA LAN, both of which CLG has qualified.
Qualified for, yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay, then it'll be the next. It'll be a little bit farther in the future, but the closest Halo news we have is Iron Gaming Atlanta. We talked about it a little bit last week with Vareem, but then it's going to be on 4/17. It's going to be in Atlanta, and I think that's all the info we've got.
Yeah, there should be soon enough. There should be season information.
That's a kickoff event for season 2. I think.
Exactly. So that'll start season 2, and we'll start getting into that.
Okay. So thanks for watching. This is the week of March 16th, 2015. We had a pretty terrible show, so Cry had to bring her dog.
Oh, it was beautiful.
And then once again, I'm the host. We're all hosting. My name's Brendan. I have Jim and I have Cry. Hopefully this wasn't 6 hours long.
Goodbye.
Nice and